Today I'm sharing 30 activities that I've done with my 1-year-old. Each child develops differently, so I think these activities are great for 1 or 2-year-olds. Welcome to my channel. I'm Ali. I'm a mum of 2. I've got a 2-year-old daughter and a 3-month-old son. I would say the majority of these play activities are super fast to set up, which is so important as a busy mum. But you know what? They're not Pinterest perfect or Insta fantastic. This is just how it looks in real life. Before I share those, when I'm thinking of these activities, I have a couple of things in mind. First off, I follow my daughter's lead. So what she's interested in, that's what I try and do activities around. If she's doing an activity that I find I have to say no to, so for instance at the kitchen table, her cup, putting her hands in the water, then I'll try and think of an activity where she can do that repeated behavior, because she obviously wants to do it, but to do it in a safe environment, in a yes environment. So just changing a no activity to a yes activity, if that makes sense. If it doesn't, ask your questions in the comments below and I can explain it further. The other thing I do is I always have an area set up for her that she can play in by herself, that I don't need to be there. So it's safe, it's child safe, it's her interests, to encourage independent play. The other factor I consider with play is filling up her love tank, spending time with her, having a connection, a bond, and then I find that she's more likely to do independent play. Because she was 1, I was supervising these activities, but I may not have been an active participant. I was letting her explore. And as a tip, if you find something that they really like, for instance, if they really like animal figurines, then use those animal figurines in multiple activities. You know, you can use them in painting, you can use them with Play-Doh, you can use them washing them. So just to summarize, follow your child's lead. If they have a particular interest in an item, then use that. So for instance, if they really like cow figurines, then instead of painting a piece of paper that they may not want to do, they could paint the cow and then they can wash it off. So follow your child's lead. That's what I really like to do, and I find the activities last a lot longer and she gets a lot more enjoyment out of it. Set up a safe environment that they can play in independently, that you don't need to be actively involved. For the activities about to share, I was always supervising her, so adult supervision is a must. If there's an activity that you find you're saying no to a lot, so putting hands in water in their cup, or they're twirling in the curtains, or try and turn that no activity into a yes activity. What play activity can you do where they can play out that behavior they want to do? If you're noticing those repeated patterns of behavior, it's part of their development. So try and turn a no activity into a yes activity. Okay, let's get started. First activity I want to share with you is jelly dig. So it's using materials that you've already got at home, jelly and baby links. So this simple sensory activity is great. Sensory play is so important for toddlers because it helps to use their 5 senses: touch, smell, taste, sight and hearing, which leads to developing creativity and exploring and investigating. So with the links in the jelly, we worked on counting. She used her fine motor skills and coordination by picking up the links and putting them back again. If your child didn't want to touch the jelly, then use a utensil, give them a wooden spoon or a scoop or something so they don't have to touch the jelly. So I made up the jelly as per the packet, washed up the baby links and then put it in the fridge for 4 hours. The second one is yarn sensory bin or tub. I originally did this because I didn't actually want to make coloured spaghetti. It was just going to be too messy. I wanted the spaghetti to last longer than one activity, so I decided to use yarn. To do this, I simply twirled it around a book and then cut each end. I made sure I didn't make it that long because I didn't want her to wrap it around her neck or anything. But of course, I always supervise her with these activities. To start off, we just put the yarn in the tub, and I'm still using this a year and a half later. I've hidden puzzle pieces, I've hidden fruit. We put it on our heads and made yarn hair. The next activity is frozen spider eggs. So I have these spider figurines and I thought, what can I use them for? And my daughter's always loved water play. So by making it into ice, there's so many things you can do to break up the ice to let the spider escape. So whether you put salt in it, whether you crush it, lots of exploring, and it's good use of science to work out how to get the spider out, whether it's water, using salt, or just throwing it until it smashes. This is really simple to make. I put the spider into the balloon, added with water and left it overnight. The next activity is to taste safe ocean. To make the water, I used blue jelly, followed the instructions, and then once it was set, I just crushed it up so it looked like waves. And then I used some Parmesan grated cheese as the sand, and then I put the animals in, and then I let her explore. When we were doing this activity, I sang songs about the turtle. I had a tiny turtle, his name was Tiny Tim. I'll stop now from singing it, I think. And then we counted the animals, we identified the animals, and then I just let her play and she moved them around. The next activity I like is a colour discovery basket. So you can do this for any colour, and once again it's using what you've got around the house. So this one here is orange, so I went around the house and found whatever things I could find that were orange. I made sure to get the ones that are different shapes, different textures, and I even put a carrot in there as well. She's at that stage where she was mouthing a lot of things, so I was sitting there and watching her, and I was naming each one of them as she took it out. The next activity was a sensory bottle, so I just used a Voss plastic water bottle and we collected leaves as well as some acorns, and then we put them into the bottle. I kind of accidentally discovered that what she loved most about this sensory bottle was actually posting the acorns in and out, and we did this repeatedly. It was fantastic. Of course, I ensured that the acorns never went in her mouth. But I didn't find it to be a problem because she was so focused on posting them. In the next activity, I created a sticky wall. Once again, I'm doing it with leaves, but you could do it for any theme. I just drew a tree on it, and then I've got autumn leaves and then sticking on them to the sticky wall. I bought these autumn leaves from a craft shop, and I found that they actually stayed on better than the leaves from the garden. The next activity I'm sharing is a Pom Pom Drop. So I've made this quite simple. I'm just using one paper towel roll, some painter's tape, and attaching it to the door. And then she's just dropping in the pom-poms and just watching the cause and effect. She drops it in, it lands on the floor, she picks it up and does it again. I found this was really good for working on her pincer grip, really important in the future for writing. This is also a great STEM activity because you can do the paper towel rolls at lots of different angles. This activity can definitely continue on until they're 3 and 4. The next activity is doing an Oball Push. If you don't have an Oball, then just use a whisk from the kitchen and then get your child to push the pom-poms in and then pull them out again. We've also done a Pom Pom Push just with a little plastic bottle and pushing the pom-poms in, and then I help to get them out again. The last one is just using a container. This is an ice cream container I had. I cut some holes in the top and then she pushes in the pom-poms. I like to do them different sizes, so some of them are easier for the pom-poms to go in and some of them require a bit more pushing. The next activity is using paper rolls as well. So this time I'm making a bird feeder. So just using a paper towel roll, covering it in peanut butter and then rolling it in bird seed. We don't have pets, so we feed the local birds. Another bird feeder we did was just created from an egg carton. I just cut this in half, put some string through it, and then poured in the bird seed. Once again, she really enjoyed watching the birds come and eat it. And nature play is so important to get them outside and exploring their surroundings. A super simple colour matching activity. I'm just using these ball pit balls, but you could use anything that you've got multiples of, whether it's blocks or Lego or something. It doesn't have to be these ball pit balls. Just use what you've got around your house. I just put some colour paper in the basket and then we colour sorted between the two. And this was a lot of fun, and I just talked about the colour that she had in her hand and where it was going. Sorting is so important for doing maths in the future. The next 3 activities are using cardboard. So the first one is making a cardboard tunnel. So using this old car seat box that I like to keep our boxes, I just put some socks and tights going through it. Then she crawled through the tunnel, which was a lot of fun. She also enjoyed just pulling the socks out. The next activity I used was just water and a paintbrush, and she painted the cardboard. You don't even need to do this in cardboard. I've also done it just painting the pavers outside because it's no mess, it's just water. And to prevent it spilling, I just put a sponge at the bottom so she just pushes into that rather than a jug of water, because as you can see, we're doing it on the carpet. The next activity is drawing in a box. So simply I just gave her some pencils, some crayons, she sat in the box and started drawing. A lot of fun with this activity is climbing in and out of the box. As she's got older, I've added more to it. We'll do gluing and I'll give her stickers. She loves playing in boxes, so I always save my cardboard boxes. So to help her become more independent with her dressing, using zips, I created a zipper board. So using zips that I got from a thrift shop, I hot glued them to the cardboard. Next activity is peekaboo. So I wanted to use these white lids. I removed the label from them, then hot glued them onto cardboard and then put different sensory textures underneath. I had a bit of trouble getting the labels off, so I used eucalyptus oil. I put things underneath like pom-poms, straws, ribbons. By changing the height of this, you can work more arm muscles. So by having it sitting up, so she's got a stand, then she's got to lift her arm up higher, so she's strengthening more shoulder muscles than if it's on the floor. The next activity is using all these ball pit balls. So it's ball, drop and pop. So using these ball pit balls and a PVC pipe, drop the balls down and it scoots out the other end, which is a lot of fun watching that cause and effect. The next activity is putting the balls into the muffin container. This is great to do when you're prepping dinner. If they want to be around you, it's a great little activity they can do in the kitchen. The next activity I did was making these sensory gloves. So I put the gloves in a plastic cup and then I filled them with chickpeas, birdseed and cotton wool. And then I let her explore them and talked about the different textures and the different feels. This is a great sensory activity. If you didn't have gloves, you could always put them in Ziploc bags. I couldn't share toddler activities at home without Play-Doh. Play-Doh is so popular in our house, and here I set up an invitation to play, Play-Doh in the middle and pretty flowers all around the outside, and she grabbed them and she stuck them in the Play-Doh and she ended up finding an ant, which was fascinating, and she chased that around. This is a great activity that you can do outside and then the flowers stay outside. The next activity using flowers, we did some flower painting. So I just put out some non-toxic paint and she dipped the flowers in and then painted them onto the paper. This is a great activity to do if you've got a lot of flowers. The important thing that I find to remember with toddler art is it is not about the end product and how it looks, it's about the process along the way and letting them learn and explore as they go. The next activity with flowers is flower soup. So we'd collected a lot of flowers and then we dumped it in the water and she used tongs and scoops to transfer it. My daughters always love water play, so we do a lot of different activities with water. Flowers, whether it's just transferring items, whether it's pouring with water, they're great activities because I know my daughter loves water, so I know they're going to last a while. The next activity I did when she was 1 was a DIY word book. So I cut some images from magazines and had some photos of our family and I just stuck it in this book I had at home and wrote the word underneath, and we would flick through it and point to each one. This was a great activity to help learn family members' names, and it was so simple to do and she got so much joy out of it. I really recommend this one. Just use what you've got at home. If you've got stickers, if you've got newspapers, just cut it up, paste it and then write the word underneath. As a post-nap activity, I like to stick items to the window that she's got to rescue of different shapes and sizes. So this was a pencil and a book. I've also done this with animal figurines in a muffin tin. The last 5 activities are bath time activities to make bath time more fun. So here's some taste safe paint. So use some whipped cream, a little bit of food dye, and then a paintbrush and painting the sides of the bath. I decided to go with whipped cream instead of shaving foam because I was just concerned she was going to put it in her mouth. And the great bit is it's an easy wash down. And who says you have to do it as part of their nighttime routine? Need an activity to break up your day, jump in the bath and do some painting.
Next, I made a sponge water toy, so chopped up some sponges of 2 different colours and then put some wool around it and chopped that off, and then it was fun for throwing in the bath. I also did some sponge boats, so using a lollipop stick and some duct tape, made that into a boat that we blew around the bath and played with. And then I used some balloons and yarn and drew faces of people, and they floated around the bath, which was a lot of fun. And the last bath activity is such a winner. So colouring your bath. I've done this with blue and I've done this with yellow. And this time I decided to add toys as well for that theme. But the other thing I do for bath time is bubble bath with foam, letters and numbers in it.
Thanks for watching, guys. I've also done 8 sensory activities for babies. I'll leave a link for that right here. You can click on that and watch that now. Thanks, guys. Bye.